Welcome back to video number 3 in the Fasting from a Biblical Perspective series. In this video, I will address questions I get asked frequently by people before they adopt the new fasting practices. And although this video is primarily about the spiritual aspect of fasting, there are a few physiological or biological things we're going to need to talk about. I often get this question, or sometimes people make the statement that fasting is an outdated Old Testament thing, right? It's as outdated as sacrificing goats at a tabernacle. But if it's not, why don't I see more people doing extended fasts the way they did back in the days of the Bible? Well, actually, they do. Fasting is the hottest trend in the health world right now. Intermittent fasting, every other day fasting, going OMAD, and dry fasting are just a few types of fasts that I'll cover at a depth at the Gentle Way Academy. But the purpose of this series, I just want to share some basics. So let me ask you a question. If I told you and your group of friends that they need to go out and run a 26.2-mile marathon tomorrow, would you be ready? How many people in your social network would be ready? Maybe one out of 100? Well, the reason why most people would fail is because our bodies don't have the machinery built up in place to transport oxygen and carbon dioxide in and out of our lungs efficiently enough to run a marathon. So we would quit. Well, some of us at the end of our block is as far as we would go. Well, this is the same principle at work with the fast that you read about in the Bible that lasted for 40 days. Moses, Elijah, and Jesus fasted for 40 days. And yes, they were hungry, as you can well imagine. But understand this, people in biblical times were not eating 6 small meals a day the way we've been trained to snack and graze all day long. People back then did not have refrigerators, and fast food shops were not open 24 hours a day. Very often, they went days without eating due to shortages or planned cultural fasting. It was a normal, natural part of life. So they were metabolically in better shape to fast for longer periods. They had all the machinery to utilize stored fat as energy. An enzyme called leptin remained high in people back then. So essentially, Jesus had been training for his epic fast his entire life. Um, because we may be new to this practice, I would like to advise us to do a little training and discuss how to prepare for a fast. So, right now, preparing for a fast, I'm thinking about a time when my buddy Todd was excited about starting his first fast. He jumped out there and he did not make it past a couple of hours. I had just completed my usual 72-hour fast, and he came to me because he was not pleased with his results. I told him the secrets to a successful fast that a wise man once shared with me. Two words together that sound like they don't make a whole lot of sense, but when put into practice, it's a game changer. I told him, you need to fast slow. Let me say that again for the people in the back of the room. Fast slow. It sounds like an oxymoron, like jumbo shrimp, but to fast slow means that you should not rush into a fast. Each fast should have a clear purpose. Slow down and get clear on that purpose. Always begin with prayer before your fast begins and ask God how long you should fast and what you should fast about. Listen closely for answers. Remember, it's not a legalistic activity, but an offering of your attention to God. Prepare yourself mentally. Your body will not just let you know it wants food, it will announce it with authority. Expect it and know the difference between a craving and real hunger. What's the difference between a craving and hunger? I'm glad you asked. Cravings are much more common and they tend to be specific. Hunger tends to be general and it usually resides after about 25 minutes or so. So let me give you two examples. Loneliness is on the rise with COVID restrictions, right? Loneliness is like hunger, very general. But you ever been in a room full of people, but the person that you truly miss is not there? Let's say your boo, your boyfriend, your girlfriend, your husband, or your wife. You specifically crave their presence. There's a room full of people, but they're missing. It's an emotional bond. Now, it is natural and normal to miss people, but when there's an emotional attachment for a specific food, you may need to get your cravings in check. So let me give you another example. Have you ever finished your dinner? Your stomach is full, but you had a craving for your favorite dessert. Or, okay, here's another one. Remember being a kid and there's a refrigerator full of food, but you call out to your mom in the other room and say, "Hey, mom, there's nothing to eat. Can we go get some McDonald's?" Right? So at that point, you're not really hungry. You were just craving a Happy Meal, right? Well, it's the same way with the foods that we eat and the foods that we crave during our fast. You're going to have cravings and you may experience a little bit of hunger. That's a very normal thing and it's okay. But if you prepare yourself by first gathering all your materials, make sure you keep your Bible at hand, have a fasting and prayer journal, shop for your vegetable broth, your bone broth, and unsweetened calorie free teas. Um, for example, black tea, green tea, and red rooibos tea are great for fasting. Keep in mind to avoid artificial sweeteners that come in those yellow, pink, and blue packets like sucralose and aspartame. Buy your water and anything you might need for the fast on hand. You don't want to have to run out to the grocery store in the middle of your fast. But start small when you're beginning. Um, Fast your beloved soda and candy or dessert for a few days. Um, for your next level of fasting, you might decide to choose to skip a meal out of your day. And then during your next fast, you can increase it to two meals, then three. If that fast is too difficult, try fasting all junk food for a whole week, and then maybe 2 weeks, and then 21 days, just as God leads you. Remember, things of God are a process, and your fasting will be a journey too. If you're planning on fasting for longer than a day, do yourself a favor and start a week or so beforehand and slowly cut back on your food amount and increase your water intake. The longer you will be fasting, your greater need for preparation will be there. If you have any medical issues, consult your doctor before fasting. Sometimes even the most dedicated Christian should not do a full water only fast. It might mean that you have to modify your fast a little bit. Your fasting may have to involve giving up some social media, maybe giving up shopping, etc., instead of going and reaching for some food. Or it could mean you have to add broth to your fast. This is between you and God. Don't let the opinions of others condemn you for what you know that you need to do. Take everything to God in prayer and trust in His guidance.